Hello, everyone. We are looking at February, okay? And we have new challenges coming up. We started off the new year. If you've already listened to January 2020, you got the insight of everything that we're setting up for the entire year, not just January, but the entire year. That is energy that's going to stay with us now as we embark upon the oncoming months of 2020. And now we're looking at some of the first challenges that we're going to be facing. All right, so let's start with that Pluto Saturn that was conjunct there January 7th and following through to January 12th, right? That's when it was exact. That one was when it was cutting through everything new. So what we have now is Saturn moving on from it, kind of like setting us up with where we're going to go from here. Now, Saturn is 25 degrees as we start off February. So it's got the last 5 degrees working on it for what we're going to come to experience at the shift when Saturn turns over and goes into Aquarius, which will be March 23rd, right? So we're finalizing now here in February, partially that of March, to do what Saturn came to do in the sign of Capricorn. Now, for us, what does that mean in our own individual charts? Because we all have that aspect. We have been working on our own structure. That's what Capricorn is all about, our foundation. And so, for now, it's all about how can we bring that new foundation and test it for the next 28 years before Saturn comes around back again. And that will be in Aquarius, where Saturn is going to test our skills as far as looking outside of the box. It's the old meeting the new, because Capricorn is conventional, it's old school. It's that old security. Uranus is taking a leap. It's revolutionizing everything that we ever thought, believed, what we've done, and whatnot. So we're really going to be testing. But we're going to talk more about that in March when we get there. But here in February, I want you to focus on finalizing your foundation. Is it good? Does it feel good? Is it safe? Is it structured? Right? Did you get the message of what Saturn's been trying to teach you over the last 2.5 years? And hopefully, so it has been. Now, let's look at Venus. Venus now this month is cruising through Pisces. Okay, so it was in Aquarius at New Year, and it was teaching us what we talked about: disattached attachment, to love unconditionally, to be a little bit more experimentative in our ways. But here in Pisces, it's all about continuing that unconditional love. That is what it's all about. Are you feeling your heart? Are you giving that unconditional love? Do you feel empathy? And as you can see from the chart here, Venus is receiving a challenge from Mars. All right, so that's love right there, Venus and Mars, right? But it's also money and actions. So the things that we value, our self esteem, and so forth. Mars is wanting to move, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius. So Mars is really feisty this month and has been there partially in January when it changed signs from Scorpio, because December was all about passion, depth, in-core feeling, a lot of intensity, right? But then we freed up. As New Year's kicked in, Mars went into Sagittarius in January. We felt like, okay, we're releasing all this energy. We're all gung ho and shooting new targets. And it still is. It's 19 degrees in Sagittarius when we start off the month. So wherever you have Sagittarius in your chart, you will see where your dynamic energy is coming from, which house it's in. That's what you want to check. And of course, Mars here wants things, and it wants it now. It's fire, Mars and Sag doesn't really procrastinate that easily, and it's shown that it's wanting love. It's wanting Venus. It wants maybe the things that you're holding close to heart as far as emotions, but Venus is also the material side of life. So you might be hunting, chasing down something material that's important to you. Venus is conjunct still, a loose, wide conjunction to Neptune, more at the end of the last week of January, they were conjunct, they were talking, they were very romantic, they were happy, they were, having candlelight dinners with champagne for those of you who are in a relationship. So that could have been really good. For others of you that had mm, unexpressed issues that might have been coming up because Mars wants to know now. Are we going to act on things? We're not just going to sit and wait for things to happen. You might have heard your partner, your spouse, reach out and say, hey, what's the deal here? What are we really going to do? Right? And you might hear yourself say that. It's like, where can we take this idealism of ours or mine and convert it into a mutual path between us so it works for both of us? This is a good time. The thing is with challenges, yes, there are challenges, but not all challenges are negative. What it means is action. Now is the time to act. Now is the time to fix. Now is the time to see how we can grow and expand and leave old things behind so we can start integrating new new goals, mutual goals together. You might find yourself looking at money a little bit more right here as we start off the month. I feel that it's a time of adjustment where you can actually either ask for a raise or, do something, new job or something that can inspire you to grow as far as your job, your career. Mercury is in a good place to actually speak without feeling. That doesn't mean Aquarius people don't feel. Absolutely. Aquarius, talking to you guys, you do feel. But for the rest of you out there, having Mercury in Aquarius allows you to feel a little detached emotionally from what it is you're talking about. So you can now be coming from a higher perspective, from a perspective of logic and reason rather than coming from sensitivity in the heart. So it's easier to pinpoint those things that are important to you, to bring forth that change that is very important. Of course, we have Mercury now really signing up to getting very close to an exact sextile of Uranus as we move into the month. And so you have that whole week, 10 days, to speak that truth, to share it, what works for you, what you ideally would like to see happen, what you'd like to separate from. That separation is a part of that Saturn now coming into that square of Uranus. It's still a wide square. We're not still exactly there yet. But before we have the exact, we build up towards, right? We build up towards an exact 90 degrees or an opposition or a conjunction. And that's when we're working, that's when we're feeling the stress of something that didn't work, right? And so this is all good. You're kind of looking at it here this first week of February, and I feel the vision that you have, stick to it. Really stick to it because that is what's going to be guiding you. Um, Jupiter is in a beautiful place. It is in a sextile to Neptune, which is your vision of where you're wanting to head. You've been having that all along now for a while, and that is just going to be increasing. Okay, so look at the vision. Make a vision board if you want to, but I would say follow up on it, catch up with it, make the adjustments that you see, be very idealistic in what it is you want, dream and dream big. All right, it's not time to kind of uh, have small thoughts. No, no, no. You're powerful here in this year of 2020. So it's trusting yourself, who you are, the innate talent, skills, knack, and know how that you can take it the long run here this year. Jupiter's definitely having your back, and Jupiter's in this good position will also show that you have people in high places that has your back, that really wants to see you succeed. But sometimes in order to succeed, we have to put the brakes on the old, what doesn't work, the things that we've put up with. And okay, sometimes we put up with things and not being conscious of it. We're just putting up with it. We don't want to create waves, right? But then again, as time goes and we haven't fixed it or tweaked it, we end up starting to feel resentful, right? And then we're looking at our outer circumstances, resentful at it, but it's not the outer circumstances to be blamed. It's our own procrastination. Now, this is where we can thank fiery Mars right now, is to say, I'm not putting up with. I'm not doing that. This is what I'm going to do instead. So cutting a few corners. To get to where you want to go is okay to do. You just want to trust that instinct. Mars and Sagittarius is very instinctful, right? Because it's so immediate. Once the thought is there, we want to act. We don't sit around and wait. And Venus in Pisces is very intuitive. So between the intuition this month and the instinctiveness of Mars, yeah, don't fear these challenges. These are actually really good. It's setting the stage for you. The sun is in Aquarius. We will have that for a while. And down to around the 21st, we do have changes, though, of the placements of both Venus and Mars. So February 8th, Venus will move out of Pisces into Aries. So you have until the 8th to do what we just talked about. But what will Venus then do when it moves out of this compassionate, intuitive area of your life to more action? You will have both Venus and Mars in fire signs until Mars changes signs February 17th. Out of Sagittarius, we'll be moving into Capricorn. So when you have these two fiery energies going on between the 8th and the 17th, this is the time. That's the week you want to target on your calendar. This is when you can see results from your actions, from your thoughts, wishes, and desires, your romantic life, your financial life, all of those things. And make the most out of it that week. Now, when Venus goes into Aries, that's a drumming to a different beat. Aries is very headstrong. It wants what it wants, it wills what it wants, and it will push through. So you will have a very active month from February 8th throughout the rest of the month to look at what it is you're initiating. Always think about Aries as the initiators. And I'm not just speaking to you born in the sign of Aries. I'm talking to all of you out there, We all have Aries. We all have the 12 signs somewhere in our chart. We, regardless, will all feel that Aryan energy of Venus step up to initiate those things that we do desire. It's a fun time, actually, because Aries, they're so spontaneous, right? And so that's a good thing. You will just with fresh energy charge out there and initiate whatever it is that's important for you. So this is a month for you to expand that, to grow it. Mercury will be moving into Pisces, so you'll still have that intuitive voice speaking in your higher mind. Always, always, and I can't say that enough to all of you, is to make sure you have quiet time, downtime. So we're not always listening to social media or the news and being bombarded from the outside world. It's robbing us from listening to our higher selves, okay? And we can get lost in that. We can definitely get lost and sucked into, and then we lose our path. So having Mercury in Pisces here in February, I would love to say to you all, try to cultivate that this month. So you become aware of it, conscious of it, so you can create some good roots for the rest of the year so that when Mercury's done teaching all of us that lesson, we're not just back to social media, headline news, and everything that's going on in that wild world out there, because then we can lose our path. And whenever you feel you're losing your path, this is how you're going to find your path again. Remember what February taught you, right? Listen within. That's also one of the messages from top of the year and New Year. If you haven't listened to January 2020, I would say listen to it, because that was not just for January. It was for the full year of 2020. So whenever getting lost on our paths, go back to that first video of 2020. That's how you can reset yourself. That's a reset button. But here, it's all about now the message of listening, because everybody's talking, but who's listening? Are we even listening to ourselves? It's so, I can't even say how important it is for those of you who are spiritual and sensitive, even more so, right? That's your navigation. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, they're closely together. We don't have any conjunctions of those planets here quite yet, but they're moving towards each other. Jupiter is moving towards Pluto. We're going to see that more in March. I can't wait to tell you more about that. Why? Because it's all about expanding certain important things in our life. And Jupiter is our friend, right? It is so generous. It expands. So we're loving that, looking forward to it. But if you now can also take out your creativity, Venus and Pisces, hello guys, until the 8th, you have your chance right now to sit down, use a little extra spare time to get in touch with that creativity, however you choose to use it, whether it's painting, dancing, sculpting, writing, whatever it is. This is your good chance of the year to do so, right? And you might even be able to channel a lot of information from dimensions up above. You might want to run out with your camera and start photographing orbs or that kind of thing, especially now since it's already touched upon Neptune, which it will there in the latter part of January, but it's still here early part of February, wanting you to connect with those higher realms, right? Spiritually. So, yeah, photographing, shooting orbs, very exciting. To get back with your meditations, absolutely. All of those things that enhances the experience and the emotion of bringing love, light, that is the message of Venus and Neptune in Pisces. We start off the month here with Moon in Aries, so that's kind of prompting us to get up and going and ready. We're going to feel that energy as we enter in. There could be something unexpected for all of us that day, February 1st. The moon is conjunct Uranus being the wild card and the wow factor. And there could be some good news coming your way. There could also be some jolting news. Could be, because there is a square still going on there, a slight square between Saturn and Pluto to that Uranus moon. But for the most part, since it's coming from Mercury in a good aspect, yes, I think maybe what you've been waiting for, for a few days as we enter into February 1st, that could manifest. And it should be really nice. But yeah. So listen, this is what we have for this month. I will be coming up with March in not too long. Probably post it there around the 10th or 12th of February, so that you'll have the outlook of what's coming up. And that is a month we all want to hear about. March is fabulous. All of you are already seeing changes in your life here throughout January and February. It's already manifesting. Some of you might know what it is. The rest of you are still waiting. Where is that new goal on the horizon? Where is it opening? We can sense, feel that change, but from which direction? Where is it? This is what is going to be revealed in the month of March. So make sure you are subscribed if you want to get it, but more importantly, turn on your notifications so you don't miss it. And as in last month, I am giving away a transit chart to one of you lucky ones. Just go to my website, sign up for that newsletter, and you might just be one of those lucky winners where I will look at your personal chart, look at where the transits are, and where they're triggering you at home, right? And of course, this is all general, but a personal chart, you can't beat that. That is when we have the dynamic insights for it. So, well, guys, much love. I will see you next month, and thank you for sharing, and have a good one thus far. Bye now.